It is a homecoming game for our quarterback Justin Fields as he goes to Atlanta to face off against his hometown team, the Atlanta Falcons. Can the Chicago Bears get a win for the first time in a month? Watch this video to find out. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears pregame prediction video, which I'll be doing before every single Bears game this year. So if you guys want my thoughts on what's going to happen for each game this year, definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel. It's getting pretty cold outside, but the Chicago Bears are headed off to Atlanta, where the weather is, I believe, a lot better than it's here in Chicago, okay? It's freaking insanely cold right now, and it's been snowing a lot too. So thankfully, we don't have to play at Soldier Field this weekend. We'll be going down to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and Justin Fields is probably going to be having a lot of friends and family in attendance there because, like I mentioned, he's from Atlanta, okay? He actually grew up being a Atlanta Falcons fan, according to a pregame presser that he gave recently, okay? So according to Nicholas Moriano, I'll put the tweet up here, but he grew up being a Falcons fan. His dad also had season tickets to the Falcons, so he went to a lot of Falcons games apparently, and he probably would have liked to be drafted to the Atlanta Falcons, but his hometown team passed up on the opportunity to get the hometown kid. Thankfully, okay? Thank God. I still cannot believe so many teams passed up on Fields during the draft, but thank God the Falcons passed up on him because that left the Chicago Bears the opportunity to get him, and what better way to, stick it to your hometown team by dominating against them, okay? So hopefully Justin Fields has a good homecoming game with a lot of people in attendance. And, obviously Justin Fields has been the talk of the NFL world as of late. Like, I can't remember the last time a 3-7 Bears team has been talked about this much in the media, and it's only because of Justin Fields, guys. Like, people are so excited about what Justin Fields can be because he keeps on breaking records basically every single weekend at this point, okay, carrying the Chicago Bears team on his back. But talking about the Atlanta Falcons now, okay, our upcoming opponent, what are they looking like? What is their record right now? And honestly, it's not good at all, okay? The Falcons are a pretty bad football team right now. They're sitting at 4-6. They're coming off a pretty bad loss on Thursday Night Football to the Carolina Panthers, in which their offense looked anemic, their defense looked terrible. But being a Bears fan, obviously I can't talk too much because my own team also is not that good this year. Like, the Chicago Bears are sitting at 3-7, a record worse than the Atlanta Falcons. So on paper, these two teams are probably going to be matched up pretty evenly, and this should be a pretty close game just because both teams are not very good this year. But let me talk about the Atlanta Falcons offense, give you guys some stats about their offense, first of all. And they rank number 12 in points scored per game, number 27 in yards gained per game, number 31 passing offense, and number 4 rushing offense. So you can see by the numbers, a very similar offense to the Chicago Bears, okay? They don't pass that much, but they run the ball really, really well, okay? They don't run the ball as good as the Bears do, but they're still top 5 in rushing yards per game, okay? It's a very run-oriented offense, okay? It's a multifaceted running offense too. It's not just going to one guy. They have 4 different running backs. Well, not even running backs, okay? Marcus Mariota is not a running back, obviously, but they have 4 different players that have above 300 rushing yards on the year, okay? So they have Tyler Algier, the rookie, doing really well this year. He has 443 rushing yards and a touchdown too. Our old friend Cordero Patterson is also on the Atlanta Falcons, and I miss that guy, man. That guy was so fun to watch with the Chicago Bears, but he's doing really well with the Atlanta Falcons too. Obviously, last year he had an insane season in which he went off for I think he broke a bunch of records last year, but this year he has been injured somewhat, so his stats are not as good as they were last year up to this point, but he still has 402 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns too. So a big factor in the red zone, a guy that can also catch the ball out of the backfield if need be, and a shifty guy too, as we know, okay? So they have Cordero Patterson. They also have Caleb Huntley, young guy who has 69 carries for 331 rushing yards. And obviously Marcus Mariota is a mobile quarterback too, and he has 347 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns as well. So like the Chicago Bears, this team can run the football in many different directions. They can run it with many different players. They have the quarterback with the threat to run the football. It's a very good running attack, guys, and going up against a bad Bears run defense, which the Bears run defense has been a little bit better as of late, so I don't want to say they're as bad as they were earlier on in the year, but still the Bears run defense is not that good overall, okay? That could be a bad matchup for the Chicago Bears, okay? The Falcons offense is averaging 4.9 yards per carry, okay? So a very productive, very efficient run game. Talking about their passing game, though, it's a very limited passing attack, okay? They don't pass the football that much, partly because they know they're not good at passing the football. They're not very productive, very efficient when they do pass the football. Even though they do have some weapons on this team, like they do have, first round pick Drake London drafted pretty highly in the draft this year. He's having a pretty decent year. He does have, let me pull up his numbers, but he does have 407 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns too. A very athletic guy, a big guy too, coming out of USC. So he's a target, obviously, for this offense. They do have Kyle Pitts, the tight end that they drafted number 4 overall last year, which they seemingly don't throw to for whatever reason, okay? Because, they run the football so much. So, like, Kyle Pitts, even though he's this monstrous, tall guy that can run routes like a receiver basically at the tight end spot, he's not being utilized that much by the Falcons just yet. But I would still keep an eye on him because he could be a threat to go off at any time if the Falcons do decide to utilize him more in the game plan. So they do have some guys, but they just do not pass the football that much. And the quarterback is very inconsistent too. Okay, Marcus Mariota, he's a very questionable decision maker, to put it lightly. Like last game against the Panthers, he could have easily had 3 picks if the defenders had better hands, but 2 of the picks were dropped. And it seemed like he was just kind of randomly tossing the ball up down the field and hoping to God that some of his receivers caught the ball when they were being double or triple covered going down the field. So decision making is obviously not always the best with Mariota. He does have athleticism that is going to be a problem for the Bears if they're not able to contain him. But if they are able to contain him, he's probably going to be pretty inconsistent as a passer. Okay, now the Bears defense has been really rough as of late. So like he still could have a pretty good day against this bad Bears defense, but he's not as accurate as a passer as like a Jared Goff or as like a, as a Kirk Cousins was, or, Tua Tagovailoa. I know those quarterbacks are not viewed as being star quarterbacks, but they're still better passers than Mariota is. So this probably is the worst passer the Bears defense has faced in a couple weeks at least, right? So that's the Falcons offense. Talking about the Falcons defense now, they are not good, okay? They're not good whatsoever. They rank number 27 in points allowed per game, number 27 also in yards allowed per game, number 32 passing defense, worst in the NFL, and number 18 running defense. And this is a very bad defense according to basically all of the numbers, okay? There's no reason why the Bears offense cannot score hopefully at least 30 plus points in this game, because they've scored 30 plus against way better defenses than the Atlanta Falcons. They have the lowest pressure rate in the entire NFL at 21%, okay, even lower than the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears rank 31st. The Falcons are 32nd in terms of pressuring the quarterback, okay? Their only productive pass rusher right now is Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle, with 4.5 sacks. Aside from him, nobody else really has been stepping up on this Falcons defensive line. So hopefully Fields should have time to throw the football in this game if our offensive line can handle this pretty weak Falcons defensive line. And this is also why the Falcons secondary has been looking really rough the entire year, okay? They rank 32nd in terms of passing yards allowed per game. They're getting torched big going down the field because their cornerbacks cannot hold up forever in coverage. AJ Terrell, who was one of the best corners in the entire NFL last year, he's taken somewhat of a step back. He's also been injured this year. I believe he is coming back for this game against the Bears. But basically all of their cornerbacks, all of their safeties have taken steps back in terms of their coverage grades, their coverage stats, because the pass rush is really bad. Now, they are less bad against the run. They actually rank 18th in terms of rushing yards allowed per game, but that's also partly because they're so bad in the secondary that teams do not really run as much against this Falcons defense because they're able to pass the ball so effectively. But the Carolina Panthers, guys, in the last game, I want to bring up the stat. They had 232 rushing yards in the last game against the Falcons defense. So obviously they are susceptible to the run too if the Bears do decide to run, which obviously they will. Okay, the Bears have the best rushing attack in all of football. Talking about the Bears offense now, they rank number 20 in points scored per game, number 21 in yards gained per game, number 32 passing offense, number 1 rushing offense. And obviously the numbers here, they still look like they're not that good in terms of points scored per game, but the Bears have been a top 3 scoring team in the entire NFL. Okay, they've been a really good offense, one of the best in football over the last month because of quarterback Justin Fields. This is the main guy behind our offensive explosion, because it seems like every single game he's breaking a new record, okay? He's going off for 100 plus rushing yards on the ground. He's doing still pretty good in the air, okay? He's not gaining a whole amount of passing yards per game because the Bears don't pass the football that much per game, but he's been very efficient as a passer. He has a passer rating of 102.8 over the last month, okay? One of the best passer ratings in football over the last month. He's not been turning the ball over that much, only 2 interceptions in the last month, and he also has 13 total touchdowns in the last month of football. So carrying the Chicago Bears team on his back. I mean, he's a threat to score the football from anywhere on the football field, whether it be our own 20-yard line, our own 30-yard line. He can still run for like an 80-yard touchdown if he wants to, because he's shown the ability to do that over the past couple weeks. He's had games of above 140 plus rushing yards in back-to-back weeks, which has never happened before in NFL history, okay? So the things that Justin Fields is doing right now on the ground, you should be appreciating how elite he is at running, because few quarterbacks in the history of the game have been able to run as well as Justin Fields has, and he's still getting better as a passer. Okay, when the Bears pass in the red zone, he's been very accurate. Okay, that's where the Bears red zone offense over the last month has been one of the best in the entire NFL. He's been good as a passer in the red zone, but also good as a runner in the red zone too, which makes it impossible to game plan for. Okay, so Fields definitely is our best player right now on the offense. He's carrying the Chicago Bears team. Like, this is the dream that, you know, all Chicago Bears fans wanted to see. Okay, a young quarterback rising up and, you know, maybe going to superstardom pretty soon in this league. So Fields has been looking really good, but I do want to see if the Bears can pass the football more in this game, okay? Because the Falcons, like I mentioned, have the worst secondary in the NFL. So if there's any game to test out, you know, the passing game, you know, test out Chase Claypool. Okay, Chase Claypool has not been utilized really at all by the Bears so far. Okay, he ran a couple routes, obviously, going down the field in the first game. Last game, he actually played less than he did in the first game. I'm not sure why that was. I think that Getsy did say he still has a lot to learn in terms of learning the playbook, learning his assignments, and like what to do on each play. So maybe his role will be expanded this week. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but this would be a very good game to test that out because the Falcons don't have a good secondary. So I would hope that Fields can have above 200 passing yards in this game, even though we're so dominant on the ground, just because this passing offense at some point does have to take some steps up, and this would be the right game to do that. I do want to talk about Velus Jones briefly, the rookie, which has been he's been kind of forgotten by Bears fans the last couple weeks because obviously we have been scoring a lot of points without him, and he's been a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks because he's not fully up to speed, according to Getsy, in terms of, you know, his responsibilities on the field, and he's also not been looking that good on the field, at least in terms of tracking the ball in the air or down the field. Obviously, he's had some fumbles. He also had a big drop going down the field on his only, I believe, you know, target down the field. He's had some targets horizontally, but he's not had many down the field, partly because of that reason. Okay, he completely blew it in his only chance he had. So he has some problems, obviously, but I do want to see the Bears give him a chance to redeem himself, because how else is he going to grow? Okay, how else is he going to show us what he has if he's not even on the football field? There are ways to get him involved in this offense without having him only being, you know, a down the field threat or, you know, a pure receiver. Okay, you could give him manufactured touches by giving him screen passes. I would much rather throw a screen to him than to EQ St. Brown, because Velus Jones is way faster, way more athletic, way more agile than EQ St. Brown is. So we'll see if Velus plays this weekend. He might need to be a return man too, because Khalil Herbert is not going to play. He's injured, which sucks. Okay, he's out for a month due to an injury that he suffered while returning kicks. So our leader in terms of yards per carry, 6.0 yards per carry. He leads the entire NFL. Khalil Herbert, he's not going to be playing in this game. Big loss for the run game, but also big loss for the return game too. So we'll see if Velus can step up and hopefully not fumble this time against the Atlanta Falcons. So that's the Bears offense. Let me talk about the Bears defense now. They rank number 25 in points allowed per game, number 15 in yards allowed per game, number 10 passing defense, number 28 run defense. And yeah, they have been really bad. Okay, really bad. And at this point, I've kind of accepted the Bears defense is not going to be good the rest of the year. So I'm just trying to see any signs of growth in these young guys. So obviously guys like Kyler Gordon, guys like Jaquan Brisker, guys like Dominique Robinson, he had a strong start to the year. He's been kind of MIA ever since. I want to see if he can finally get to the quarterback again after, you know, he did multiple times in week 1. And I do want to see if Alan Williams can find a way to make this defense a little bit better, at least a little bit better down the stretch, because if it's as bad as it's been going down the stretch still, like, I will have some question marks about his ability to call plays, because even though I know the Bears defense does not have too much talent on it, you should be able to get at least a little bit better performances than you have been getting over the last month. Okay, you should be able to get some type of pressure on the quarterback by being more creative in terms of your blitzing, in terms of how you are sending stunts at the line of scrimmage, in terms of how you are setting up your coverages. Like, right now, nothing is confusing the opposing quarterback, which is a big problem for the Bears defense. I do want to talk about Jack Sanborn a little bit though, because this guy has been going off, okay, over the last couple weeks. Okay, not so much in the first game. He was still decent in the first game, but against the Dolphins. But the last game against the against the Lions, he had a monstrous game. Okay, he had 2 tackles for loss, he had 2 sacks, he had 1 interception, which should have counted if not for a BS hands to the face, which was completely away from the play. He also had 12 tackles too. So Jack Sanborn is really stepping up big time, and I want to see if this can continue going down the stretch, because if it can continue, you find yourself a starting linebacker as a UDFA, which would be a big steal by Ryan Poles. It would be one less need the Bears would have in free agency or in the draft next offseason. And I do want to see also the Bears defense get turnovers, okay? Because right now they're in a turnover drought over the last 2 weeks. They have 0 turnovers in the last 2 weeks. For a team that's been, stressing, preaching how important turning the ball over is, they have not been good at doing that the last 2 weeks. So hopefully that will change in this game against the Atlanta Falcons, with Mariota hopefully throwing some bad balls their way. But let me talk about the 3 keys to Bears victory now. How can the Chicago Bears win this game against the Atlanta Falcons? And key number 1 is going to be to continue the red zone efficiency that we've been seeing over the last month. Okay, the Bears have been one of the best teams in the red zone over the last month, partly because they've been very efficient in the red zone in terms of not wasting any plays, not having many penalties in the red zone. You guys saw the last game against the Lions, the first drive of the game was going so well until we got that penalty, which was probably a BS penalty, but regardless, you cannot be having penalties in the red zone. You have to be not wasting many plays, and Luke Getsy has been doing a good job of making that the case. Okay, and Justin Fields has been very good and also not wasting many plays in the red zone, and his legs, guys, are a big asset to the Chicago Bears because it seems like basically every single game is getting design quarterback runs in the red zone, which is a good thing. Obviously, you want to use that 4.4 elite speed of Justin Fields when the field is short in the red zone. So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is going to be to get off the field on third down. Okay, the Bears have not been able to get off the field on third down on defense over the last month, okay, which is the major reason why they've been allowing as many points as they have been allowing. Okay, big conversions of 10, 15, even 20 plus yards have happened on third down, which is completely unexcusable if you are Alan Williams and if you are a member of the Chicago Bears defense. Okay, find a way to get a stop, whether that be to send extra pressure on third down. I know the Bears don't blitz that often, but maybe start blitzing more on third down, to see if anything changes, because right now by sitting back in coverage, we're getting dotted up. Okay, we're not getting any pressure on the quarterback, and we're allowing opposing quarterbacks to get easy gains on third down, which cannot happen in this game. So that's key number 2. Finally, key number 3 is going to be to test a weak secondary if you are the Chicago Bears offense, if you are Justin Fields. Now, obviously, our main game still is going to be running the football. This team is always going to be a run-first team as currently constructed because that's what we're best at doing this year. But I really want to see Justin Fields have 250 plus passing yards in this game because I really think it's possible. Even though we're not a really good passing team this year, we don't have great personnel for passing the football, we should be able to take advantage of this weak secondary and, be more equal in terms of running and passing the football. I do want to see Fields, eventually develop as a passer because obviously we can't always only have him running with the football. I mean, at Ohio State, he was a dominant passer of the football. And I think that, in this game, we could see some flashes of him doing that again. So hopefully at least 200 passing yards, 250 would be nice, but we'll see what he does. But let me get to my score prediction now. Who do I have win this game? Who do I have win this matchup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta? And guys, I have the Chicago Bears going into Atlanta and getting out of there with a W by the score of 34-31. Now, this game could go either way. I'm not very confident in this prediction just because, I do think either side could win this. Okay, these teams are kind of similar. Okay, the Falcons also are a really good rushing offense, a bad passing offense, and a bad defense. The Bears are the same exact thing, but I do think the Bears will win this game at the end because I believe more in Justin Fields than I do in Marcus Mariota. Okay, and Fields being the hometown kid, the stage is set for a dominant performance, another dominant performance by QB1, probably through the air and also through the ground. Okay, I hope it's not only through the ground because against a secondary this bad, he should have at least 200 passing yards. Okay, if we do pass the football at an equal rate to how much we run. So I think our offense will do amazing in this game. I mean, our offense has been exploding as of late, and against the defense is bad. They should have another good game, but I don't think our defense will do really well, obviously, because the Falcons have been scoring a decent amount of points this year, and our defense against the run obviously has not been good. So against the good running defense, I do think we will allow 30 plus points, unfortunately, but I think we win at the end. Okay, I think we do win at the end. As for my offensive MVP, obviously Justin Fields. I mean, this guy's carrying the Bears offense, being the hometown kid. I think he goes back to Atlanta and puts on a show in front of his friends and family. Has 200 plus passing yards. I'll be predicting maybe 215 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, and let's say 80 rushing yards. Okay, so as you can tell, I'm pretty optimistic on Fields right now. Hopefully I'm not being too optimistic, but with how good he's been playing as of late, this is definitely a possible stat line for Justin Fields. As for my defense MVP, I'm going to go with Jaquan Brisker, the rookie. Let's say 1 interception and a couple tackles for loss. Okay, that'd be a good performance by Brisker, even though I do have our defense playing pretty bad in this game. But That's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? Who do you guys think is going to win? Let me know down below. I'll be back with my post-game reaction on Sunday night. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. As always, bear down.